From the Samsung Production Studios in the heart of Hazleton, Pennsylvania, it's your News 13.
Brought to you by SSPTV and the Standard Speaker.
It's work. Here is Don. A group devoted to refurbishing Hazleton's downtown is closing shop, but it's got some money left. What happens to that now that Arch is closing? Our top story on News 13 for this Monday. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Kathy Bazinski. A project funded by community banks was set up to bring life to the downtown. Now it says it's reached its goals and it's closing. Christina Papa spoke with directors of the Alliance to Revitalize Center City Hazleton to find out what will happen to its surplus funding.
It was formed to revitalize downtown Hazleton. The Alliance to Revitalize Center City Hazleton, or ARCH, brought life to the Broad Street Business Exchange.
ARCH was formed to manage the downtown business exchange at Broad and Laurel Streets in Hazleton, and it did for several years.
Attorney Joseph Ferdinand says ARCH deeded the Broad Street Business Exchange back to Luzerne County in 2009. Since then, the organization has begun to dissolve and finalize ARCH's affairs. That means distributing the $20,000 left over after the project's completion.
And now we're at that end stage where we're going to completely conclude all of the assets of the organization.
Ferdinand says there are bylaws in place in the company that explain what they're to do when the company wants to dissolve. Wrapping up ARCH's affairs means paying off bills that may be owed to the county or city and then distributing any assets left over.
If there are remaining assets, we're looking at an organization or organizations in the city, as directed by the bylaws of the organization, as to receive any remaining funds.
The bylaws detail that leftover money should then go to organizations similar to ARCH in downtown Hazleton.
Charitable group in the city or a community development group in the city that would have similar objectives to ARCH.
The directors of the company are looking toward a group very similar to themselves just a block away.
The purpose of the Chamber's Downtown Committee is to help beautify the downtown.
And with construction projects still going on here in downtown Hazleton, Donna Palermo says what better way to use that money than right here in the city. President of the Chamber of Commerce, Donna Palermo, knows there may not be leftover money, but if there is, she'd like to see it go to beautifying the downtown.
It could be something for brand new trash receptacles, benches to put throughout the downtown so people could, sit out their lunch hours. It could be for banners.
Although nothing is set in stone today, Ferdinand says loose ends should be cut in the next few months. Christina Papa, News 13, Hazleton.
A Pottsville couple had to be flown to a hospital after a fire erupted in their apartment on Montango Street Sunday evening. Dennis Tobias and Jean Shustak were in the apartment and apparently had some French fries cooking on the stove, which sparked that fire. Investigators say the stove fire was so smoky that the pair suffered smoke inhalation and had to be choppered to a hospital. A neighbor saw black smoke pouring out from under the apartment door, broke into the door and found Tobias on the floor, pulled him to safety. By that time, firefighters had arrived and found Shustak on the sofa, rescued her from the smoky apartment. Both were unconscious. No word on their conditions tonight. Well, it's a frightening situation that affects more people than you might realize. This weekend, hundreds of people laced up their shoes to help raise money and create awareness about suicide. On Sunday, the 4th annual Suicide Awareness Prevention Walk was held at the track at Hazleton Area High School. This event is put on every year with the help of the SAD Club at the high school. It was originated by Samantha Neiman, who lost her son to suicide. Organizers believe it's important to have events like this to raise awareness of the desperate issue, which seems to be getting worse.
I think it's important because there are so many people who are afraid to ever, come out and identify that they may have, a mental health problem or that something's wrong. And by people coming together like this, it allows them to know that, they have support and it's okay to come out and ask for help.
Walk. There were also tricky trays, refreshments for the walkers, and a bounce house for the kids. All of the money raised at this event stays right here in the area to help with suicide prevention. With increased violence and growing misunderstanding as the result of increasing diversity, communities all over our region are searching for ways to bring their people together. As Stephanie Gorney tells us, a grassroots initiative in one Luzerne County city has sprung up to do just that.
There was a sense of togetherness and belonging this past weekend at a fun-free event that was organized to bring the whole community together. At Kirby Park in Wilkes-Barre Saturday afternoon, Building Bridges held its first community call-out day. Building Bridges is an organization that was first created last year in the wake of all the crime that was happening in the area. The community came out to meetings to voice their opinions on what should be done.
It is coming as a result of last year's spring and summer meetings where the community came together, and one thing that we heard over and over again is that we'd like to get back to basics. We like to get to know each other and start to build up community together. So we thought this would be a good opportunity to answer that.
The event was free to the public and featured a variety of food, games, and many of the city's organizations came out to provide different ways to come together. Volunteers who gave up their time this weekend enjoyed being able to help out because they want to try to create a safe place for their children to live.
I have 4 kids and we need to stop this violence. There's too much violence. Kids are getting hurt. It's terrible. We need to get this together and bring the community together because we need a safe place for our kids to go, and our kids do not have a safe place to go, and they need a place. And this is a good, free event to bring everybody out. It's the beautiful event.
It's bringing so many new people together, children meeting different children, finding new things to do.
It's great.
It's just
great
meeting
event.
a whole bunch of new people and no drama,
nothing.
Just
This is a great
lots
event.
of fun, food, and a great time.
Building Bridges has a golf tournament planned and hopes to have smaller block parties around the area to bring the community closer together. Stephanie Gorney, News 13, Wilkes-Barre.
And still ahead on News 13, enjoy today because we'll have warm temperatures but wet conditions the next couple of days. We'll tell you when in News 13 weather. But first, they patrol our streets doing their best to deter crime and spot potential problems. We'll tell you about some new strategies they learned this weekend when News 13 continues. They've become part of the Hazleton community, creating a vigilant presence in high-crime areas of the city. This weekend, the Guardian Angels held a regional conference, and as Stephanie Gorney tells us, the focus was new ways to make communities safer.
They patrol the streets to keep the community safe and are constantly looking for new ways to detect crime and keep themselves safe as well. The Guardian Angels held their annual convention in Wilkes-Barre on Sunday, where chapters from all over the state and surrounding states came together to get updated on different ways of operating as a group.
Basically, it's for our angels to gather together so that we can share information, get some information out to all of our chapters at one time rather than going to each individual one periodically.
Just a few months ago, the Guardian Angels made an appearance in Hazleton, where they walked around the city with Police Chief Frank DeAndrea and residents in the community. Since then, the community has become more involved with the Angels and have even started their own chapter.
I'm glad to say that I do have 5 members, including myself, so that's a good start. Still looking for more members to join and looking forward to the development of the Hazleton chapter.
Ville Marie has also seen a decrease in the amount of activity that takes place on the streets during the nighttime hours.
We also patrolled, and we're seeing that hardly people out there, which is a great thing. It's a positive thing, and it teaches the community, lets the community know that the efforts that everyone is putting in is working, slowly but surely, but they are working.
The City of Hazleton hopes to gain more support from the community to protect the streets, and if anyone is interested in joining the Guardian Angels, they can contact Ville Marie at the number on your screen. Stephanie Gorney, News 13, Wilkes-Barre.
It was a great way to get out of the house and enjoy the nice weather while getting a chance to see how creative folks are in our area. Over 100 vendors showed their wares at the annual craft show at the Hometown Farmers Market. The show also attracted hundreds of people who came out to take in those various crafts that were available. There was something for everybody, including handmade sandals, baby clothing, knickknacks, blankets, decorations for every holiday. Along with the crafts, there were also plenty of food vendors who served up everything from homemade potato pancakes to pierogi and halushki. For the craft artists, it was a great opportunity to allow their handiwork to be seen.
I just want to show the world my creativity compared to others, and then I like to look around and see what other people's interests are compared to my own.
We love coming out to the craft show. It's a good arrangement. You can get under the pavilions, out and around. It's great. The weather's beautiful. It's just the vendors are great. A lot of good country crafts.
Everybody at the fair said they can't wait for next year's event. And there was another day full of delicious food, games, karaoke, people from all over coming out to the event to raise money for an important organization in Hazleton. On Saturday, the United Rehabilitation Services held their annual bazaar and community came out in force. There was a giant flea market which had something for everybody, tricky trays of course, fun games for the children, and a special charity auction. This bazaar originally was held for 2 days, but with recent funding cuts, the organization had to reduce it to 1.
It is our biggest fundraiser of the year, okay? Usually we normally ran 2 days, but this year because of the cutbacks, we've had to furlough 6 staff. We thought, let's concentrate on just the 1 day, put all our efforts into the 1 day bazaar. So hopefully next year, as things get a little bit better in the economy, hopefully we'll be back to our 2 days.
Despite the cut to 1 day, the bazaar saw an overwhelming turnout, and as you heard, organizers already starting to plan for next year. And time now for our regional weather from the National Weather Service. Checking the radar, nothing much going on there. That's just ground reflection around the radar site, but we're going to see some changes, some showers moving in during the day tomorrow. Creative Condition, it's a beautiful day for a walk in the park, and it's by Madeline Ashton, a first grader at Valley Elementary. She and her friend are out for a stroll in the bright sunshine. Now let's take a look at News 13 weather from the National Weather Service for Greater Hazleton for tonight. Partly cloudy with the low down to 47. And for Tuesday, slight chance of afternoon showers moving in with a high up to 68. Definitely a chance of showers overnight with the low down to 52. And heading to Schuylkill County for tonight, mostly cloudy, low around 47. Then for Tuesday, mostly cloudy, chance of afternoon showers, high of 69. Showers continuing into the overnight with a low around 53 degrees. Well, a local student from our area has something to be very proud of tonight after winning an award that brought hundreds of contestants from all across Pennsylvania. Braden Rampula from Drums Elementary was awarded first place in his age category for PennDOT's Aviation Art Contest. Over 300 entries were submitted statewide, and winners were chosen from each of PennDOT's 11 engineering districts. Today, the acting director of Pennsylvania's Aviation Department presented Braden with his award, as well as a large-size poster of the drawing he drew. This year's theme for the contest was 50 years of American spaceflight.
Every year we do an aviation art contest. This year's theme was 50 years of spaceflight, which we chose to commemorate that it's the 50th anniversary since John Glenn was the first American to orbit the Earth.
And Braden was very excited to receive his award, and he should be. All of our congratulations on a beautiful job there. And now let's check the winning midday lottery numbers. Good luck if you played. The daily number, 479, Big 4, 2324, Quinto 77950, and the treasure hunt 1, 2, 16, 17, 25. Hope you won.
Good evening, everyone, and here's tonight's Talk of the Town report. One announcement for this evening: Nescopec State Park will be holding a program titled A Bird in the Hand, Songbird Mist Netting on Saturday, May 11th from 8:30 a.m. to noon. Join Dr. Jeffrey Stratford, an ornithologist from Wilkes University, to learn about the miraculous lives of songbirds. For more information, please call 570-403-2006. That's tonight's Talk of the Town. News 13 would like to send sincere condolences to the family and friends of these recently departed. Viola M. Hyduke of Bethlehem. Funeral is Wednesday at 11 a.m. at the Long Funeral Home. Friends may call Wednesday from 10 to 11 a.m. The Reverend Leonard M. Butkavich, former pastor of the Holy Trinity Slovak Church. Arrangements are under the direction of the Frank J. Bonin Funeral Home. Elizabeth Betty Judish, formerly of Hazleton. Arrangements will be announced by the Frank J. Bonin Funeral Home. And Jean M. Pottery of McAdoo. Arrangements will be announced by the Damiano Funeral Home. Tonight's obituaries have been brought to you by the Smilax Floral Shop located on 15th Street in Hazleton. For delivery to all local funeral homes, call 570-454-0111. And by Mia's, once again, the Hazleton area's #1 rated restaurant. Call 570-501-3410 for information on luncheon packages.
SSPTV Sports on News 13 with Fred Barletta Jr. and Ron Marchetti.
Well, going into the weekend, the Hazleton area Cougars were rolling a little bit. They had knocked off Lake Lehman. They had beat Crestwood. They were primed for a little bit of a stretch run, but hold on to everything. It wasn't a good Saturday and a Sunday for the Cougars, and that concluded yesterday when Valley West knocked them off 7-1. Joey Barron, he was one of the Cougars still swinging a good bat, but You know, it's the pitching, and that's usually what it comes down to in baseball. The Cougars gave up 25 runs in 2 games over the weekend, and now they would need all sorts of miracle stuff to happen for them to tie for the Wyoming Valley Conference part of the league championship, but we'll wait and see. They're off today, licked their wounds a little bit. They'll be back in action tomorrow against the Coughlin Crusaders. Now, doesn't mean we don't have baseball today. CMMI is hosting GAR. You got Monoy area for the home game in the Schuylkill League. Marion travels to Schuylkill Haven, and Pottsville and Tamaqua square off. Softball action, Pittston, Hazelton area right here in town. Schuylkill League, busy day. Monoy area, they're hosting Shenandoah Marion on the road in Weatherly. Berwick North Schuylkill in a non-league encounter in Pottsville and Tamaqua. Final regular season match for boys volleyball. Hazelton area on the road. They're in downtown Wilkes-Barre. They'll take on Redeemer. Minor league baseball, Russ Kanzler had a base knock. His Norfolk team remains pretty hot. 6-5 winners over Syracuse. Kyle Landis didn't pitch. His Akron team won. And speaking of hot, nobody hotter than the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders. 2-1 winners over Gwinnett. They're getting timely hitting. They're getting great pitching. Putting it all together, the team is playing very, very good. Iron Pigs, tight one yesterday. They ended up edging Indianapolis 5-4. There's your International League schedule as it looks today. And you take a look at the standings as we enter this first full week of the month of May. And you can see those Rail Riders have now climbed within 2 games of the Buffalo Bisons in the Northern Division of the International League. Pawtucket right behind them. The Iron Pigs, you see, still trying to get to the 500 level. Meanwhile, Norfolk has worked their way into a first-place tie with Durham. That's the Southern Division of the International League. And I think that's going to be a dogfight right through the entire season. Well, equal time for the girls. Last week we told you it was perfect weather for the opening of Little League Baseball. Well, it was cooperating on the weather side again this past weekend as the All-America Girls Softball League held its opening day ceremonies. The girls could have asked for a better weather day than that, and they even had a special guest for the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Rail Riders to help them celebrate this opening day, throwing out first pitch ceremonies. You know, the Rail Riders organization is looking to get involved with local communities throughout northeastern Pennsylvania and take in these rewarding experiences.
It's just really rewarding. It's cool to see the look on everyone's face. It's exciting. We wanted to come out. We're becoming more of a community organization, and we figured what better than to get out to local little leagues, softballs, any community organization. If they have some event, we want to be a part of it.
So along with celebrating the start of the season, the league also showed off their newly renovated dugouts and fencing as well. Old-timers like me, well, you know, that was the cow pasture, then St. Stan's. Now I guess it's just the Northgate field down there, but it's looking awfully impressive. News 13 Sports is sponsored by Sand Springs, featuring a world-class golf course as well as celebrations, the area's most luxurious banquet and wedding facility.
Welcome to Trivia Treats on this first Monday and 6th day in May. Hi, everybody, and congratulations to Orb and his jockey Joel Rosario for winning the Kentucky Derby on Saturday. Johnny Unitas would have been 80 years old today. Pat Summerall would have been 83 today, and the Say kid, Willie Mays, is 82 today. Exactly 50 years ago, in 1963, finding it difficult to compete with the NFL's Cowboys in Dallas, AFL founder Lamar Hunt moved his Texans to Kansas City and renamed them the Chiefs. Also, on this day in 2009, only 4 years ago, during a 13-3 thrashing of the Indians at Fenway Park, the Red Sox tied a major league record for most runs scored in an inning before a batter was retired. 12 consecutive batters reached base, resulting in 12 runs before an out was made. 59 years ago yesterday, on a beautiful day in St. Louis, 6-time National League batting champion Stan the Man Musial muscled his way into the record book with a 5-home run doubleheader barrage against the New York Giants in Busch Stadium. However, the Cardinals only managed to split, winning the first game 10-6, but losing the nightcap 9-7. Exactly 1 day later, on May 6, 1954, Roger Bannister became the first man ever to break the 4-minute mile when he posted a 3:59.4 that remained the recognized world record, even though John Landy of Australia recorded an unofficial 3:58 1 month later. Well, that set up what was built as the Mile of the Century before 35,000 fans at the British Empire Games in Vancouver and a transcontinental audience estimated at 40 million. Roger Bannister and John Landy staged the greatest show in the history of track and field. Their meeting in the Empire Games in July of 1954 was much anticipated, and the National Broadcasting Company of the United States combined its efforts with the Canadian Broadcasting Company to make this the most widely viewed sports event in television history. When the race started, Landy set a torrid pace. The Australian led all the way until Bannister suddenly made his move with 100 yards to go. The Englishman drove past him, hit the tape, and collapsed into the arms of some waiting friends. Bannister's time, 3:58.8. Landy's time, 3:59.6. Both were under the once sacred 4-minute barrier. Mother of God. At that time, it was considered unbelievable. Till Friday, be a good sport and stay loose.
And plenty more news and information headed your way on News 13. A downtown development agency says it's accomplished its mission. So what happens next? That story and much more news when the 13 crew comes right back.